All right, we are live. So I'm here on the DoorGrow show with August Cziment of Ring, and I'm real excited to have you here because I recently got one of your devices. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and Ring?
Sure. So my name is August Cziment. I'm actually Ring's very first employee. So I've been around since the garage days. Um, and what Ring is a Wi-Fi enabled video doorbell. It streams audio and video, allowing homeowners to see and speak with guests from anywhere using their smartphone. It has motion detection, cloud video recording, night vision, and several other features that really enable it to be an effective tool for reducing break-ins, mail theft, property crime, as well as just a general product for convenience and monitoring your home while there or away.
Great. And so I was at Costco, and you guys must be doing something right because it was there at Costco, and my wife was like, "Hey, see this? I've heard about these," and I was like, "I haven't." And so she was like, "These are really cool. Like people are lots. One of my friends has this at her house, and one of my other friends has this at her house." And I was like, "All right, let's get it. I like new tech. Let's try it out." And got the thing and set it up, and it's been really cool. So it pops up on my phone and says, "Hey, there's somebody like creeping around your door." There's some motion detected,
Yep.
and then or I'll get it says, there's somebody ringing your doorbell, and it pops up on my phone, and I can see who it is, and I can even talk to them, which is really. I don't even have to be home. I can be like, "Hey, get away from my door," or I can be like, "Hey, yeah, just leave the package there," or whatever.
It's truly a magical experience. I would agree. And I actually credit Costco for that. They're they're a pretty amazing partner. They've done a good job. I mean, they really know how to select the right products. And so that we are big fans of Costco ourselves. But yeah, it truly is a magical experience. I think it's something where when you start to use the product, um, A, you realize how cool it is. B, you realize that where you really can't believe that there was a day that you didn't have something like this. So it really is something that whether or not you realize the value up front, you definitely realize it very quickly after setting it up and using it for a short period of time.
So we actually here in our neighborhood, and I'm in Southern California, and I live in a really nice neighborhood up on the hill, but down, I have this view at night of the city, and it's gorgeous. It's really fun to look at. It's not a whole lot, not super amazing during the day, but it's nice at night to see all this. But what I'm seeing down there is San Bernardino. Okay. And this is one of the highest per capita poverty areas in the US. There's this, everybody's heard the name from the recent terrorist event that happened and this sort of thing. But a lot of riffraff like to come from these areas and come up into the more, the nicer neighborhoods. And we've had our the neighborhood mailbox where there's several mailboxes broken into. We've had people have had packages stolen, and there's people and I've had one of our cars has been broken into. They didn't take anything. So I'm guessing they were just like getting numbers and things like this to do stuff, or maybe they're planning to come back. I don't know, but these kind of things have happened, and so it's made me concerned. And I think this is it. It's not like atypical, I think, around the US for people to be dealing with this kind of stuff, package theft, whatever. And so and we have packages delivered constantly now, like more so than ever. There's this Amazon culture. It's, getting these boxes. And so every time something happens on my porch, I have a notice. And I can
Yep.
look at the video of it. If I don't have time to look at it right then, I can see, oh, there's a package sitting down there for me.
Yeah, it really is. To your point, we've become a prime nation, really. So, I mean, it seems like everyone has an Amazon Prime account. But to your point, I think you touched on a few different things that we really hear a lot from our customers, and that is this type of crime is becoming more and more prevalent. And I think, you can attribute it to a variety of different reasons or factors or whatever you may. But what we see a lot is that nonviolent crime um, is being incentivized a little bit more just based on our current kind of criminal system that we have in place. And especially in California, there's been some laws that have passed that where we don't want to keep nonviolent criminals in jails. And whether or not you agree with it, the reality is these crimes have become much more common as a result. I mean, the knock-knock burglaries, what some people would maybe even consider petty crimes, such as mail theft and package theft. A lot of that stuff is becoming much more widespread, in part because they're not getting punished. And so, or they're not getting severely punished, I should say. And so for these slap on the wrist type crimes, people are really taking that risk, or criminals, I should say, are taking the risk much more often. And then even from people, I know you mentioned that you're adjacent to San Bernardino, and so you get some of the kind of spillover criminals into your neighborhood. Well, what I think a lot of people see in terms of like the value of our product is not only its ability to reduce crime, but what we think of as peace of mind, in terms of being able to provide a homeowner that feeling that they're connected to their home even when they're halfway around the world. And so peace of mind means something different to everyone. And so maybe to the person who's adjacent to a community where a lot of criminals come over and break into homes, maybe it means ensuring that they can prevent a burglar before they come into their home. For other people who live in safer communities, maybe that means getting to see the nanny bring home their kid every day at 3 p.m. after school and saying hi to their son or hi to their daughter, and knowing, hey, you know what, I'm at the office, I'm working hard, but I know that they got home safe. I know that it was a good day. And to them, that's really the value that our product adds. And so this idea of peace of mind really is about something so much more than just security. It really is about maintaining that connection to your home, to your family, to your neighborhood, regardless of where you are.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's so many different fears that we can create in our mind when it comes to our family, our kids, and our home, and having the transparency and knowing and the visibility of knowing what's going in and out of your home and when, and being able to see what's happening around your property is great. So I actually even went out, I was like, this is so cool. I want to see what's going on in my driveway. So I went and got another Ring device that's not the doorbell one, just the camera, and set that
Yep.
up right on the corner of my garage so I could see what's going on in my driveway out in front of my property. And that's
Yep.
pretty much, with my property, giving me a fairly decent visibility around my property and what's going on. The main entry point to the home, which is generally the main place that crime occurs, coming in. And then also I'm seeing my vehicles and my driveway. And who knows, maybe eventually I'll have like cameras in my backyard and everywhere else. But and there's this whole movement right now towards home automation. It's starting to become more mainstream, and this connection. And I noticed that it looks like Ring can also connect to some of these home automation hubs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have integrations with several law companies, and then IFTTT. And so we're definitely moving more towards kind of opening up our technology and allowing it to talk to other devices. In kind of full disclosure, when we first came up with this idea, the classic entrepreneurial tale of it was much harder than we had ever thought it would be, right?
Right.
And
I would
so,
imagine.
a lot of people, when they hear about the idea, they say, wow, I can't believe that something like that doesn't already exist, or did not already exist at the time that you launched
Mhm.
Ring. Well, if you worked at Ring, you would understand why. It's very challenging technology to produce, especially at the cost and everything that we need to manufacture it at, and everything else, and the way consumers view hardware. You're immediately compared to Apple and Samsung and Sony's of the world, and they've really set the bar high. And so as far as integrations go, we spent a long time, because we're still a relatively young company, we spent a long time really perfecting our own technology and really trying to optimize the experience for our customers in regards to the video doorbell, that we're just now really starting to explore what integrations are out there and how we can really work with other technologies and products to create a better kind of holistic experience for homeowners. But really, this is something that it's still relatively new to us, and we're really gonna focus on building it out. But we do have some pretty cool stuff going on with locks. We have an integration with ADT, which is definitely pretty neat. You can make your home more secure from the in-call screen from a Ring event. So you can lock your locks, turn on your lights, arm your system, assuming you have an ADT Pulse system. So again, yeah, that's definitely something that we're looking to build out and add more partners in the future. But for now, I think we have some pretty cool integrations going.
So how did Ring come about when there are Apple and Samsung and these people? Why didn't they do this?
It's a great question. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people really had the same vision that we did. I mean, when we first released the product, I think some people thought that this is a product that should be in Sky Mall, right? I mean, this is just something that's kind of gimmicky, and it's not really a necessity. It's something that's a nice to have, but not a must have. And I think that a lot of that was because people underestimated how widespread these types of crimes really were and how many different homes they were affecting. I think it was also because some people think that crime is something that is much more maybe not brazen, but people think that it's kind of this huge kind of ski mask and kicking down the back door and doing something that's much more complex than it really is. And what we've seen at Ring is a lot of the crime that we're able to prevent, they're crimes of opportunity. So there are people that go during the day when the homeowners typically aren't there and they're out working. They'll knock on the door. Should a homeowner happen to be there, then they'll make up some story about looking for someone that doesn't live there using a generic name. But oftentimes when the homeowner is not there, then they'll kind of case the property and they'll break in. And so I think that our product has really kind of brought to light how common this type of crime really is. And so I think in part it was that the bigger players, the Samsungs and Apples of the world, maybe overlook this opportunity because they really didn't understand how big it truly is.
I think their focus, maybe was just elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so I want to go back to, well, I want to touch on one thing. Like, one thing I've noticed is there's this like culture that's gotten away from knowing your neighbors, from there being, this connection. And now we're seeing this kind of shift back to that. Like, we've gotten less social, even though we're more involved in social media. Our social network, our real life network has like dwindled, and we're starting to see this shift back. So you're seeing these things like Ring creating this peace of mind. And then you're seeing a lot of Facebook groups for cities and things like this that are very neighborhood oriented. And I'm seeing people post their Ring videos on these Facebook groups, right? Has anyone else seen this person snooping around their property? And then you're seeing things like Nextdoor, social network, pop up that is very similar to these Facebook groups without all the downsides and distractions of Facebook. It's very focused on it verifies and it's real neighbors. And so I think you're kind of a pioneer. You're at the forefront of all of this, and it's really exciting to hear that things are integrating. So
Yeah. And I think for a long time, really until a couple of years ago, people thought of home security in a way that was very kind of isolated, in the sense that a lot of traditional security companies have taught us that if you build a huge wall around your home, that you will be safe, figuratively speaking, right? And so if you protect your home with every last bell and whistle out there, that you will be safe. And I think a lot of people sort of lost or stopped believing that was the solution. And now neighborhoods are starting to realize that crime isn't it isn't reliant on an individual home as much as it is at the neighborhood level. And so we feel that Ring kind of plays one piece in creating a safer neighborhood, but ultimately crime and safety, that really occurs at the neighborhood level. And so what we see in terms of a safe community or safe neighborhood, it is a neighborhood where there's a lot of engagement, a lot of interaction, where they have email distribution lists. They know who their neighbors are. They interact with each other using some centralized platform. Again, even it's just a big email list where people can ping each other when they see suspicious behavior or when an incident has occurred that they want their neighbors to be aware of. Having something in place that really brings them all together, that's really the biggest step in terms of reducing crime in neighborhoods. And then for us, we see our technology as just being a tool for increasing that engagement and allowing others to interact in terms of audio, video surveillance and using the same app to talk amongst each other. We're just allowing them to do what they should already be doing in terms of taking a step to reduce break-ins and property crime.
Yeah, and that goes right along with your mission. I was looking on your About page before the call, and it says your mission is really simple. And I love this because I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek and Start with Why and having a why statement and this sort of idea. Because most companies have big, lengthy, like garbage mission statements that are like real thick, and nobody at the company probably knows it. But the Ring mission statement says to reduce crime in communities.
Yep.
Like really simple. So I love that. So, and I feel like it's taking Neighborhood Watch, this old idea of Neighborhood Watch, to a whole new level, because it's watching when, it's there protecting and looking at your little area on your porch, when you're not there. It motion activates and does this. So I want to connect this to the property management industry, for my audience. So the property managers, one thing they should be aware of. Now, going back to what you said earlier, you mentioned peace of mind. So property managers that are savvy, they understand this is the homeowner's number one concern. So if they're going to sell these homeowners on the idea that, hey, we're going to manage this property for you, and their biggest concern is peace of mind, I see a real advantage for property managers to say, hey, one of the things that we do when we onboard a new property is we're going to install this really cool Ring doorbell into your property. And if we do this, you're going to be able to see this, do this and this and this, and you're going to have this greater peace of mind. And I don't know how that people work this currently between the tenant having the control and access versus the landlord, because I don't think that'd be really cool if the landlord was always seeing when you're going in and out, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, again, you can share I think what makes our, one of the features that makes our product appealing is that it's very flexible, right? And so you can obviously share access if you choose. I mean, we have, for example, people who might get a Ring doorbell for their parents who are slightly older, and so they might want to share access with themselves on their parents' device. I know my 87-year-old grandfather has a Ring that he uses every day, and I'm shared on it just so I can ensure that I kind of see what's going on and that everything is okay. But, back to the property management use case, I mean, I think that's something that's very interesting as well about the Ring is that, especially from a property manager standpoint, which I know very little about in full disclosure, so everyone out there that's watching this, from what I've seen, I think one of the other values that we can really bring is that we can help provide video and audio evidence for disputes that might come up, right? And so I know that something that property managers will deal with are kind of nuisances or annoyances that they'll have tenants report to them about. Maybe their neighbor, smokes cigarettes late at night and talks really loud right next to their front door. And they've told their neighbor continuously to stop doing that past a certain, during sleeping hours, let's call it. And if that never, if the, neighbor doesn't stop doing that, then it becomes problematic. And then they kind of raise the case to the property manager or to anybody, for further review. And if they don't have video evidence of this happening, or they're not able to really prove their side, I think it becomes this kind of he say, she say type of case, when in reality, there's a much easier way to figure out if these things are happening. And that is, hey, I saw you, just standing on my doorstep smoking cigarettes with your roommates at 1 a.m. And, this happened after the time that we had a conversation where you said you'd stop doing this. So I think it can really help, tenants in a variety of different ways. And it can really hopefully prevent some headaches on property manager's side, where they don't really know how to deal with the dispute, because from time to time, they don't know whose side to take or who's telling the truth about what's happening.
Yeah, so the way I would imagine this working for most property managers that are managing like single family homes and whatnot, I would imagine that they would set up the Ring doorbell. This gives the owner, it's this additional peace of mind about the property that is going to be taken care of, but not giving the owner access due to privacy related issues, but giving the tenant full access. And then I would imagine that the tenant would have video to back up any sort of issues. This would be helpful for the tenant should there be any claims that need to be filed, any sort of legal issues. They can also show this to the property manager to back up things like you're saying, like noisy neighbors, stuff like this, or problems in the area. And then also for the property manager, there's an added level of peace of mind, because the property manager could always subpoena legally access to any video stuff that might be relevant. And I would imagine, they could go and try and delete it, but if they were claiming that they've had this here, there would at least be the evidence that they've maybe destroyed the evidence. I don't know, but
sure. And I think, with our device, I don't think anyone here will say, hey, this is the end all be all of, security and our ability to provide video evidence in certain circumstances. I mean, there's always going to be a way that you can kind of circumvent the technology or get around it. But at the end of the day, it's a huge step in the right direction, right? And so, I mean, if you're a property manager and you're looking at different options to protect your homes and to protect the homeowners and to provide a solution for, video, audio evidence and really kind of everything in between. Again, it's just a very affordable, simple DIY solution that I think any homeowner and or property manager could benefit from.
Yeah. So while we were talking, I just got a notice on my phone. I don't know if anyone watching the video can see this, but I just got a notice on my phone saying there's motion at your front door, and I can just open it up. It's opening up the Ring app here, and now it's popping up the video. So here's, you can't really see this, but here's my porch, and you can see,
Yep.
that maybe somebody came in, or this or something went by, but
Yep.
it's pretty cool. It's so simple, and it just pops up and makes it so easy, and it's so intuitive. And I think security systems can be so complicated. They're so expensive, and I just bought this thing and snapped it on the front, and it was pretty easy. And it connected to my phone, and the app walks you through everything. And it was just such a different experience. You took something that was so big and cumbersome and difficult and put it in this little box you stick on. It's a doorbell. And I think it's the simplicity that makes things genius. And so,
Yep.
So now for property managers, vacant properties are a big deal. And this is where I see something like Ring could be a game changer for vacant properties. There's a lot of people that are using these self-serve showing systems like Rently and Showmojo and these sort of things. And so eventually, maybe you want to integrate with these guys. But what's really cool about having something like Ring is that somebody in your office could be responsible for this as a property manager, and each vacant property could be popping up, sending you this notice. Hey, it's this property. Somebody's at the porch. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. And you could say, okay, it's the maintenance guy. And then if there's an integration with like PremPoint, which I've interviewed on a previous episode, where they can you can then unlock the door for them using a lock or something like that. You can allow them access, and then you're going to have this video evidence of people when they go in, when they're going out, and so if there's ever any issues, it's creating a greater level of peace of mind for the homeowner and for the property manager, and doing a good job for the homeowner. And I see this as a win-win all around, and it's quite affordable. So.
Hey, I appreciate the positive feedback, and we totally agree. I mean, it really is just such a simple solution that anyone can quickly learn and benefit from, and you really don't have to be tech savvy. You don't need to be someone who's very handy. The installation process is simple. The setup process, pairing it to your Wi-Fi, is very simple. And then using the app is, again, it's a very, the whole process is very user-friendly. We pride ourselves on designing the app in a way that really anyone can learn it and use it within a few minutes of setting it up. And so, the feedback that you just gave is something that we hear from a lot of our customers, and that's why people like it and recommend it to other people, because it is so easy, yet it can provide such a tremendous value to your home and really give you that feeling that I think a lot of people are looking for in terms of staying connected to their home when they're away.
Cool. So any plans in the future for something like if Wi-Fi goes down?
Right now, we don't have anything. We're always looking at different possibilities for things that we can potentially do. But there are definitely the future. There's a lot of different possibilities for things that we can include in case of those kind of extreme circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
For now, we've kind of been fully focused on perfecting this current version of the product in terms of the Wi-Fi video audio pieces, but I'm not going to rule it out for the future.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I mean, what's nice is, my brain thinks like, what if somebody came up and like somehow killed my Wi-Fi? But what's funny is I've got this kind of circle of protection, and they have to get pretty close in order to do anything. And by then I've already got a picture of them.
That's the whole idea. People say, well, what if someone comes up and, tries to destroy the device? Well, you'll capture them walking up, right? So you'll have pretty clear video of them walking up to the device and attempting to destroy it, and all of that video will be stored in the cloud and accessible for you. So,
and you did a plus one besides that, like to alleviate people's fears, right?
Yes,
of the device getting stolen. They're like, if I'm going to invest a couple $100 for this device, and then they can just break it off and steal it, right? So what have you done to counter that?
We have a lifetime theft guarantee. So if your device is stolen, we will replace it free of charge. So we stand behind the product. We stand behind the brand. And the most important part of anything that we do is ensuring that we provide an excellent customer experience. We want our customers to be happy. It'll make or break the company. And it sounds so obvious, yet I don't think enough companies really put their money where their mouth is. And for us, we stand behind what we say. And so we don't ever want someone to look at our technology and say, hey, this is something that could really benefit me, my family, my home, but I'm concerned about someone stealing it, and have that be the reason that they don't want to purchase it and really benefit from it. And so we want to alleviate those concerns, and that's exactly why we do the lifetime theft guarantee. And it's definitely, people really appreciate it. And luckily, we don't really have to go down that path too often. So we've been fortunate there. But hey, when it happens, we'll send you out a new device, and we'll get you back up and running in no time.
Yeah, and it's pretty silly of a criminal to think, hey, well, they probably got my picture. Oh, crap, I better take this thing, because it's already in the cloud. It's already into the cloud, and that's what's really nice. So
more often than not, I think when people see that they're being recorded or they suspected that they're being recorded, the path of least resistance is to simply walk away. So that's what we see a lot. So they'll get up and, you know, maybe they're thinking about doing something mischievous or whatever it is, and they realize that they're being recorded, and immediately they leave and they go to the next home, and they go somewhere, you know, that's much more vulnerable than a home that has a Ring Video Doorbell product on it.
That's exactly what I've seen on, you've recently launched your Ring Neighborhood, and you have the live view, which is cool. So at any time I can just hit either of my cameras and I can see what's going on right now, which is like really cool. And so if I, for some reason, were wondering what's going on right there, right now. The other thing is all the videos that I've seen posted to the Ring Neighborhood thing feature that you have, or to Facebook groups, or the Nextdoor app, it usually you see like some creeper like walking up, looking around, and then they see the camera or whatever, and they're like, and then they split, like you see them, you see this deer, and then they're out of there. They're like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they get posted and everybody's like, who's this guy? Anybody else seen this guy around? Yeah. So
it's great. We love it. I mean, we love to see the interaction. We love to see neighbors coming together, because again, we understand that our device alone is not enough to have a significant impact on neighborhood crime. It really does take neighbors coming together. I mean, there is no silver bullet, unfortunately. It really is a collective effort, and part of that effort is implementing technology that can really help kind of keep an eye on things when you're not there. And a big part of it is kind of the old school, getting together with your neighbors and knowing who they are, knowing how to reach them, trusting them, and really kind of continuing to have an open line of communication.
Yeah, so quick, short, anecdotal story. So on one of the Facebook groups that I'm on for the local area that I'm in, somebody posted that the mailbox had been broken into. And you see the whole back of this multi-property mailbox that was torn, like crowbarred open or whatever, and somebody stole the mail, right? Then if you, in the same feed, you see, you know, a day or so later, you see, hey, somebody posting, hey, I saw this video of this SUV. We caught this video from our property of this SUV driving by and throwing mail out the window. And I guess the two are linked or whatever, but when these things get posted and combined, whereas normally there wouldn't have been any communication, like maybe they would have given the video to the police, maybe the police would have had time and said, okay, that this mail is linked to this mailbox. But it's just really cool to see like things come together like this that normally wouldn't have been possible without technology. So
absolutely. Hey, we love seeing the full circle of life, and if our product can contribute to that, that's amazing. And for us, just hearing those stories, that's, I mean, it's why we do it.
Yeah. So, so it's making, yeah, I feel like I feel safer. I feel greater peace of mind having these things on my home. And I feel like my property is less of a target. And if that does that to somebody, and we're renting this property here in SoCal. So if that does that for me, I imagine it would also do that for the landlord in terms of the property being vacant and knowing on what's going there. And it would do it for the property manager. And if the property manager, here's where I think property managers, business owners, we're always looking for a competitive advantage as a business owner. And property managers that are willing to have that little extra, that makes them memorable. So they're like, oh yeah, that's the property manager that they do the Ring door things and they do the Nest thermostats and they do this, and the properties are really cool. Like if you're doing this, or they're doing prem points, so there's no rekeying and all these costs, right? So if they're doing these cool things, this is a competitive advantage. And so those property managers that are listening, this may be a way to easily distinguish yourself from some of your competitors that may not be as progressive or high tech.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is the wave of the future. I mean, when we first launched this, I thought to myself, I don't know when, it might be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, there will be a day when people look back and say, I can't believe that there was a day when all doorbells did is go ding dong.
Yeah. Just make noise.
Absolutely.
So, and what's really cool about that is you can answer, respond to the ding dong without even being anywhere in the property.
Yep.
I can do it from my phone. I could be, 100 miles away and it could pop up and I could respond to it, hit talk, and I could be like, and I can see them. I can say, hey, yeah, can I help you? And they're like, yeah, we were just here talking about solar panels or whatever their story is, right? I'm using quotation marks.
Yep.
Right? So that they can case the property and be like, well, I'm a little busy right now and we're renters and we're not interested. And then they go away and they're like, oh, I guess they're there,
Yep.
They don't know either way, but they also,
Well, they know that they don't want to take the risk, and that's really what matters. It's a calculated risk, and it's one that to them, it's the severity of the crime is just so much more extreme if they go into a home where someone's there. I mean, not only for potential criminal sentencing, but I mean, what if the homeowner has a gun? I mean, they just don't know, right? And so not only for their the risk that they will be committing a crime that is much more serious, their own safety. So again, I mean, it's a calculated risk, and what we've seen is that the math on that risk is not worth it to them.
Yeah, I love it. So, well, cool. I'm excited to see where this technology goes and what sort of stuff people are doing in the future. You mentioned IFTT earlier. So for those that aren't aware of that, that's like if this, then that. And it's this cool technology or website or whatever, where it allows you to create rules and workflows that integrate different things with other things, like technology and different things like that. So that's really cool. And then do you guys have a Zapier integration coming down the pike as well?
Sorry, I'd say you cut out.
Are you planning on having a Zapier integration in the future?
I'm not entirely sure. I could maybe follow up, send you a follow-up note on that one.
All
but
right,
I'm not.
that's the next one you should look into, right? So
Okay.
I don't know if that'd be relevant. It's more for business, but maybe when you have a business or commercial focused doorbell, that would make more sense. But it basically, Zapier is really cool. Like if this, then that, it allows you to connect and integrate a lot of different online apps,
Got it.
cloud-based software. So they've got like
Got it.
500 different apps. And so you can connect like your Gmail to your webcam, for example. So it sends an email or whatever. So kind of like if this, then that. So, well, cool. I really appreciate you coming out and hanging out here on the show, the DoorGrow show, and keep me keep in touch and keep me informed as to your integrations that you're doing. I'm sure property managers would be really keen and interested on what's going on with the properties and the potential of doing this kind of technology on their properties. And so
sure.
Yeah.
And if any property managers are interested, they want more information, they want to understand maybe some specific initiatives that we can roll out with your communities, neighborhoods, individual properties, whatever it is, people are welcome to email neighborhoods@ring.com.
Great.
And that'll go to my team. And again, we work with communities across the country, doing a variety of different kind of custom solutions. And so if anyone's interested in how our technology works and if this is something that's right for you, I would encourage you guys to email neighborhoods@ring.com, and we'll jump on the phone and answer any questions and figure out a good plan of action for moving forward.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see someday a software where you can have hundreds or thousands of properties of rings in there to manage and at a glance control. And then I think what'll be interesting, I think this will spread. It's just a matter of time. And what will happen is you'll see some weird little industries popping up, right?
Yep.
Answering services, maybe for Ring doorbells that you can give access to. So you're not able to do it. You're busy with somebody else is going to be answering. Oh, hello. Yeah, I'm here. This sort of thing. So they can respond immediately to anybody coming in and out to the door.
Yep. Yep, maybe. You never know, right?
So it's already happened with live chat on websites. It's happened with, phones in businesses. So if enough people have rings, I can't imagine why that it wouldn't happen there. Maybe I can even get my call center that I use to answer my doorbell for me. I'll have to ask them.
It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible.
Well, cool. Excited to see what the future of this unfolds. And again, August, thanks for coming on the
Yeah,
DoorGrow
thank
show.
you, Jason. I appreciate it.
All right. Let's